And sorry about this voice. Pollen levels are high, evidently, and someone said I've been shaking too many hands, so apologize for that. So in the event that we have an emergency, we need to exit. We'll ask everyone to exit to the back of the auditorium here. We're on the east side of Energy Plaza, on the atrium level side. We'll exit out and move through the 16th Street side, down the steps, which is the easiest one to get to as you probably came in. And then make sure you use your three-point touch, one hand on the railing, 2 feet on the ground. In the event of a severe weather, we would actually migrate everybody to the west and to the garage area, and we would stay there until we were released by security. Fire extinguishers are kind of right around the corner. There's a conference room that's called Conference Room A, out this door and just around the corner. It's right there on the wall. The AED and the first aid kit, as you would go into the cafeteria through those glass doors, it's on the right-hand side, one on top of each other. Is anybody here certified in the use of an AED or in CPR? All right, very good. Thank you very much for that. If you have a medical condition, please write it down or tell your neighbor. And in case of emergency, we'll have our security folks dial 911 and essentially coordinate any evacuation that we need. So with that, that's our safety briefing. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tim. Good afternoon and welcome to the May 2018 meeting of the Omaha Public Power District Board of Directors. Let's run through our list of housekeeping items. First and foremost, please silence your electronic devices. This regular board meeting will follow the agenda made available to the public upon entering the meeting. This meeting is streaming live on the internet at OPPD.com. Our regular board meetings have public comment periods on the agenda. Following board discussion on each pending matter, I will ask for public comment before bringing the matter to a vote. Also, prior to adjournment of the meeting, you will have an opportunity to comment on any other OPPD matters. If you wish to speak, please approach the microphone to your far left and state your name and address and state the name of any organization or person you may be representing. Organizations should choose one representative to speak on their behalf so as to avoid repetitive commentary. Comments made by all parties during the meeting are a part of the official public record. Each individual will be allotted 3 minutes per matter pending at the discretion of the board. To assist you, we use a red, yellow, green light indicator to ensure each member of the public receives a consistent amount of time. Ms. Tracy will signal you when 30 seconds remain, as well as when time is up. Please direct your comments to me, not to other board members or the executive team. I will either respond to you directly or defer response to another board member or officer of the district. If you brought written materials, Ms. Tracy will receive them on our behalf. Ms. Tracy, please call the roll.
Barrett?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Here.
Gay?
Here.
McGuire? Here. Mines?
Here.
Moody?
Here.
Trinan?
Here.
Yoder?
Here.
Agenda item number 4, notice of the time and place of this meeting was publicized by notifying the area news media, by publicizing same in the Omaha World Herald and outlets, by displaying such notice on the arcade level of Energy Plaza since May 9, 2018, and by mailing such notice to each of the district's directors on that same date. A copy of the proposed agenda for this meeting has been maintained on a current basis and is readily available for public inspection in the office of the district's corporate secretary. Additionally, a copy of the Opens Meeting Law is available for inspection in the public meeting book located in this meeting room. On to the board consent action items. The consent agenda items are as follows. Item number 5, approval of the March 2018 comprehensive financial and operating reports, April 12, 2018 board meeting minutes, and the May 17, 2018 agenda. Item 6, SD2 rates monitoring report, resolution number 6245. Item number 7, the 345-161 KV auto transformers, resolution number 6246. Number 8, Nebraska City 2 catalyst middle layer replacement materials award, resolution number 6247. And number 9, GP 1 through 4 and BL 1 through 5 monitoring reports, resolution number 6248. If there are no corrections, changes, or additions to these items, I need a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda items.
Well, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any comments on any of these consent items?
So, good. I was a little curious as to what the process is. So, we make
And
comments
has been
on.
the last several months. Okay,
Yeah, I know, but I'm a slow learner. Thank you. We can make comments on any of these things at this point.
Yes.
And then I guess the only thing I want to say is that thanks to whoever's loaded it, but loaded on diligent are affordability reports that have been done in the past. I think those provide good additional information to the excellent information that was already prepared by the CFO and his team. And I think it's worth taking a look at some point at your leisure. I found them useful, and they do provide a district by district, not OPPD district, segmenting of the state. So I think it's good to see, because sorry, I wasn't at the Tuesday meeting, but I did catch part of that meeting, and I did see there was some question, how do parts of the state stack up against each other? So that's some good information on that. So that's all I had.
Thank you. Do any other directors have any comments on these consent items? Seeing none, do any members of the public wish to comment on items 5 through 9?
David Corbin, Chair of Nebraska Sierra Club. I took a couple of notes at the committee meeting, and I have some things to offer on SD2. It's impressive that you set an aggressive goal at 20% below the regional average for your rates. I just ask that when you look at environmental stewardship, you set equally aggressive goals for the amount of renewables. The part about making bills simple and easier, I would like to once again recommend either O-Power or some similar way to have on the bills for customer behavior and knowing how they compare to others of similar size, and I think that would be a good addition to your SD2. Regarding the transformer, I did talk to Mr. Mohammed afterwards, and I do think that you've got some things that you could brag about in terms of environmental sensitivity, because as you bring in the new transformers, I think you need to indicate what you do with the old ones and how you resource those and how you look at the environment when you do repurpose those. So I would encourage you to always add that to it when you bring in new equipment. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no other comments on these consent items, we'll go for the vote.
Barrett,
Yes.
Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Gay.
Yes.
McGuire,
Yes.
Lyons.
Yes.
Moody,
Yes.
Trinan.
Yes.
Yoder.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, that concludes the normal business section of our meeting. Rather thin agenda today, which is okay for a change. Our next item would be the President's Report. Mr. Burke.
Great, thank you very much, I appreciate that. So this month, we're gonna talk about a number of different things. We'll try to do it in an efficient fashion here. We're gonna jump through our generation side. So our Nebraska City Station capacity factor for the month was 71%, Nebraska City 2 was 82%. What is also interesting about our fossil generation is kind of really the first time it's really met our equipment availability factor of 90% or greater. And so our teams are really doing a great job on the reliability components of our generation. And so that keeps costs low, that keeps the plants running, and so those are all positive things as well. On our North Omaha stations, units 1 through 3 are now available on natural gas for the summer peak. Again, we converted them from coal to natural gas. They're used for really peaking capacity during the summer. Units 4 and 5 have all gone through outages. All those outages were on time and on budget, and they're going to be ready for summer load as well, or maybe today load as well. So that's a good sign. Our renewable generation for the month of April, we're just a month behind here, was 37% of OPPD's retail sales, and our wind capacity factor average of all of our wind resources that we have was 44.8%. So a couple of things have been happening on the distribution side of the business. So we had an auto transformer move. I think we sent a note out to the board. There was some media around that where we started that process, and then the contractor that we used had some hydraulic failure of one of their trailers. That move occurred last night and was done successfully. So that's a relatively large transformer that was moved. That requires a significant amount of coordination with moving lines and wires and getting a variety of the public support and security and police to support us in that, and State Patrol as well. So we're very appreciative of the public partnership that we have as well. And Lisa's telling me something.
You can see it all on OPPD.
Oh, thank you. Well, okay, that's what you were saying.
I just want to
That was probably one of the biggest moves we've done in a while, I would bet. Yeah, exactly. And so that's pretty positive. So we'll be doing a story on OPPD.com. It'll be on the wire. And so it's already there today. So you'll have an opportunity to see that and the work that went into that. We also conducted a town hall in Ceresco. Over the course of January and even in the early March, there was ice and snow and wind and a significant amount of disturbance around galloping lines and wires. That was also an OPPD wire story that we did around that. We did a town hall meeting and kind of shared with them our short-term and long-term strategies. And so just to let you know, those short-term strategies have been completed. And so we'll be sending some information out to the public about that as well. The other item I would say go ahead. There you go. This is it. So if you remember back in June 16th, this would be a Friday night, we had a F1, F2 tornado go through South Sarpy County. There was a 7-mile transmission line that essentially was destroyed in that tornado. And we decided not to rebuild that in the manner. It was actually a wood H-frame system, not exactly these here, except the new one that's that we've installed that actually went in service a week or so ago, a couple weeks, certainly I believe 3 weeks before we had planned it to go in service, which was very positive, is the structure that's on the bottom right, which is the monopole structure. And that's a 345 line. Our teams and our contractors that we work with did a great job and did a great job interfacing with our customers as well. So congratulations to Mo and his team, not only on the transformer move, but also on the modification changes and now the energizing of that transmission line. And congratulations to a number of different folks, Julie's team and Lisa's team and Mo's team for the town hall meeting. There was a variety of folks in attendance there working with customers and letting them know what we're doing and what happens during these kinds of storms. So speaking of Mr. Dogman, so we talked a little bit about it last month because it was something that just came off the wire and was public at that point in time, but now we got an official picture. So where Mohammed received the Distinguished Alumni Achievement Award from the University of Nebraska at Omaha through their MBA or the College of Business Administration. So it was a great opportunity for the senior managers and several members of the board to attend and recognize Mo and his wife and family members that were in attendance. So Mo, congratulations on that. So along with that, kind of at the same time, Mr. John Buckley also received the 2018 Alumni Award of Excellence. So John is the manager of our work management area here at OPPD. He's responsible for project management, transmission, distribution, work planning, resource scheduling, vegetation management. That would be tree trimming in many cases. Cable locating, contract management, administrative services. He's also a certified lean facilitator. He's a director of Nebraska One Call and is a Nebraska licensed professional geologist. So John and his wife and family here is in recognition of that award. So congratulations to John, his wife Kim, and his two sons, Stuart and Jack. So another great recognition of the leadership that we have here at OPPD, and he actually works for Mo. So they took a lot of hardware away from UNO this past month. Safety first. It's one of the things that we talk very clearly about. It's the reason why we start our meetings with safety briefings. It's one of the most important things that we have, not only for our employees, but for the public. And I just want to share that we've been recognized by the American Public Power Association and the National Safety Council of Nebraska. The National Safety Council of Nebraska named OPPD one of the safest companies in the state for 2017. APPA ranked OPPD third among similarly sized utilities in terms of hours worked. And so Director of our Safety and Technical Training, Kevin McCormick, is here. Kevin, thank you for you and your team, but I will tell you it's the men and women in the field that do a great job of making sure that we maintain safe operations. So just a great recognition of the work our men and women do and our focus on safety. this is kind of a recognition day for us, or month for us. So there's two recognitions in this picture. So Chris Vertiska, who's in the center here, is an OPPD Supervisor of Transmission and Distribution Maintenance, and he received an award from the Nebraska Forest Service and Community Forestry Council for his dedication to utility education and proper care for and handling of trees. It's a great accomplishment for Chris. He's been actively involved in these organizations and associations, and he's also a pretty significant reason why OPPD was recently awarded for its commitment to proper tree planting and caring. On April 23rd, the utility was named a Treeline USA utility for the 17th straight year. Treeline USA is a partnership between Arbor Day Foundation and the National Association of State Foresters. So this award recognizes the public and private utilities for their pursuit of practices that protect and enhance Americans' urban trees, and the work that we do around all the that's not good. That's not good. Sorry about that. I thought sorry about that.
Bullet number one.
Sorry, yeah, I know. Sorry. I thought I silenced it. Actually, it was Walgreens, so it was Walgreens for my cold here, so it must be in. So anyway, it's just a great recognition of the great work that we do, and so congratulations to Chris and our men and women of our forestry group for the work that they do as well. So as part of their professional development, this is a program we shared with the board earlier in the year. We have 23 students that are part of our Legacy I3 program. 23 students that are primarily in North Omaha, South Omaha, several students from Blackburn Alternative High School that we have worked with a local group and a national group on taking them through really a boot camp in the fall and giving them career experiences over the course of this semester. And there are some absolutely wonderful stories about some of the work that we're doing in this community with these men and women. And so there's 23 of them here. And this was a great opportunity for us. We had taken them through an etiquette class, and we thought no better way to have them experience real life and an opportunity to attend a big event. And so we provide the opportunity for them to attend the 100 Black Men of Omaha Gala on April 20th. And the senior team supported a little donation and others to get the men tuxes and the girls dresses that either rent or bought, or how we ended up acquiring them. I don't really want to know. Not OPPD funds, but other volunteer funds, and our commitment to these young men and women. This is a program that we have ambassadors, including the senior team, that are attached to these kids, and our plan is to follow them and assist them through their curriculum and their focus in the areas that they have interest in. It's just a really great opportunity for us to partner. And so they're very proud about being there, and they represented OPPD and they represented their high schools and schools incredibly well. So just some great things that we're doing in the community. And then, of course, with our focus on safety, we always talk about our commitment and our remembrance of our men and women who have died in the line of duty. And so the picture up here is of Edward Runka. He died on April 16th, 1946, while working on a 7,600 volt line in Bellevue, Nebraska. He was attempting to fasten his safety belt when he made contact with the line. He was 56 years old, with 26 years at OPPD at the time of his death. He was survived by his mother, 2 brothers, and 5 sisters. And it's just a great reminder of the commitment that we have on safety, but also remembering the important work that our men and women do in the field every single day. And kind of the second piece that we've been talking about, last month we previewed a little bit about our core values, our passion to serve, how we honor the community and how we care for each other. And we're going to show just a quick video. Last month we showed the video about we care for each other. And so today we're going to show the video about how we honor our community. And so with that, Kim, I'll let you do what you need to do there.
Fairly recently, we were taking a trip to Kansas City and going down the interstate, and I was kind of excited to show my son the Nebraska City power plants. And so as we're going down, he saw the large stacks, and he was just amazed at the size and how big it was, and then saw the trains going in. So that was really, really excited. And so just a few days later, my son comes up and sets this really big Lego power plant he built. He was so excited. He said, "Dad, I used the big Legos because the power plant is so big." He explains what it does. But if you think about energy and just the fundamental component to that, it's essential for life. It's essential for businesses to grow and expand. It's neat to see my son think about that.
What does it power?
Lights and computers and iPads and cars and TVs.
What we do in economic development is we work in the community. We work with community leaders, we work with businesses to grow and make the area a better place. These are long-term projects that create amazing impact for the future, and my goal is to obviously leave the place better for my kids and everybody else to kind of raise income levels and just a great quality of life that we have here in Nebraska. We're a big part of our community and wake up every day thinking about the community. I think one of the other unique things that we have the pleasure of working on is hearing from customers. What do they need today? What do they need tomorrow? And what is really long-term? What does the future look like? And I think that's one of the things that is exciting to me, and I think that really ties back to this value of honor. And because we want to hear from our customer owners, what do they want? It may not be what we think. We've got to go ask. Honor is really the right word. I mean, we are a servant, an entity integrated into the community. We value our customers' input, and I think that really hit home as well. When you say Omaha Public Power District, people get excited about that. Say, we like that public feel in that. It gives us a say in how our energy is put together, so they feel that part of the community. As I go to meetings and meet with folks, they're always excited when you say, "I work for OPPD." There's a real kind of privilege to that, and that's really one of the things that drew me here is that. You see it on the face of our crews, our employees, my small team. It's really engaging. It's who we are and what we do and how we lead and change the future and today and tomorrow.
That concludes my report, so thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Okay, our next item is item number 11. It's the opportunity for comment on other items of district business members of the public would care to comment.
John Pollock, 1412 North 35th Street, Omaha. I note with some disappointment that we haven't had any word about shut-offs as part of the president's report, and I would still encourage you to put that in at some point and tell the public explicitly what's in there about that. As far as weather goes, you're right about the pollen. This was a fast warm-up even for Nebraska, and everything's all going at the same time this year. So that certainly elevates the pollen count. In addition, it's been pretty dry, so all the wind-blown pollen really gets picked up and redeposited. It looks like we may be coming into a wetter period. This is a pretty critical one for us because we've gone rather far into the spring without a really substantial amount of rain, and we need some recharge of the soil in the next few weeks, or we will be hitting a hot summer. Right now, the outlook for the next month really is for above normal temperatures, but for the summer as a whole, that's June through August, it's near normal temperatures, and the only way to achieve that really is to get some rain so that we're actually cooling things off through evaporation from the soil. Another aspect of our spring weather is that it's tough to get rain without severe weather. However, what's happening this year is that the jet stream, we're in the storm track, or we will be getting into the storm track, it appears, but the jet stream is rather weak. And usually, to get a lot of widespread severe weather, you need a strong jet stream. So what that would suggest is that we're going to have probably slower moving weather systems without as much severe weather as often occurs associated with them. Now, that doesn't mean that somebody isn't going to get unlucky. I would still expect there to be severe weather, but at least right now, we're not winding up for anything big in the foreseeable future. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
David Corbin, Nebraska Sierra Club. First of all, I can't think of a better way to spend my birthday than to be here with you today. And have you feature me, and to be featured on your video. Speaking of etiquette, I'm sorry I said, I should have said Mr. Dogman. I apologize for that. I'm looking forward to the rollout, the exciting rollout of your EV initiative. I think it has great potential. Likewise, I'm looking forward to seeing what you've decided with the solar array and whether or not you'll consider the proposal that I gave to you last month. And then one just last thing about, at the committee meeting, people talked about the Volkswagen settlement and that you had people talking to the Nebraska Department of Environmental Quality. I hope that you will help to convince them that they do allow, the settlement allows up to 15% of that money to be for charging stations, and DEQ only chose 10%. And I think we still need to push them to up that to 15%. The settlement, like your EV plan, also says that the areas that have the most pollution should get the most of the money from the settlement dollars, and so that includes Douglas County, just like your grant for the EV does that, and it also because there were more Volkswagens in this area that were part of the settlement, so that's a double reason why our community should be getting more of those Volkswagen dollars. And then finally, the NDEQ did not. It does allow for electric vehicles. They did not choose to fund any of that in their first go-round. I encourage you to push them to do like some places like Rhode Island is going to have electric buses and charging stations to go with that as a pilot program. If nothing else, there should be one, at least one pilot one, and if it's not a city bus, it could be some shuttle bus somewhere to represent our area and electric vehicles and have it branded. So I hope that the Sierra Club will continue to work with NDEQ, and I hope that OPPD does the same. Thank you.
Laverne Drayan, 49th Chicago. I'm going to go over your website. It's coal ash, fly ash at work. What is fly ash? A naturally occurring product of the coal combustion process. I would suggest it's a man-made product made for profit. How OPPD uses fly ash? Well, you sell 70% of it, so that's really great. Average industry is 45%. Is it dangerous? You claim fly ash has been studied extensively for decades by university and government regulatory agencies. The standard test for toxicity of solids has routinely demonstrated the fly ash is not hazardous. You have the Nebraska Department of Environmental Quality and their beneficial uses of it, and 95% of ash is made up of compound silica naturally found in soils across the United States. Well, that's the myth. Fact is, coal ash is hazardous. According to the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, a waste is hazardous if it leaches toxic chemicals like arsenic and selenium above a certain threshold when testing using the toxicity characteristic leaching procedure. when EPA tests coal ash using a new and more accurate leach test, the resulting leachate can exceed hazardous waste thresholds. Claims that coal ash is not hazardous are based on the TCLP. Yet the EPA Science Advisory Board and the National Academy of Sciences has determined that the TCLP does not accurately predict the toxicity of coal ash. When tested with EPA's new and more accurate test, coal ash leached arsenic of up to 18,000 parts per billion, which is 1,800 times the federal drinking water standard and over 3 times the hazardous waste threshold. The new test revealed selenium leached from one coal ash up to 29,000 ppb, which is 580 times the drinking water standard and 29 times the hazardous waste threshold. This is not your backyard soil unless you live at a Superfund site. Here's what the EPA says from their comment. As coal ash contains contaminants, why do they regulate it? Because coal ash contains contaminants like mercury, cadmium, and arsenic. Without proper management, these contaminants can pollute waterways, groundwater, drinking air, and the air. And I have, of course, the thing over here about how it hurts your breathing. So, what does this mean for the OPPD customers? 30% of the heat over there is converted to electricity. 100% of the coal is converted to coal ash. 70% of that is sold. What you're telling me is that we own a coal ash factory. And the reason you don't want to shut it down is because you love making coal ash. The electricity is a byproduct of your coal ash factory that you actually use to subsidize the coal ash factory. Now you're making that coal ash at the expense of our air and water. And sir, words and commas do matter in organizations such as this. And another comment about not asking the management to research issues. I've been asking this utility to research the nuclear power plant, the coal plant. I want you to demonstrate to me that this coal is cheaper than the natural gas of those 3 burners. I don't get none of that. And I think it'd be terrible for an activist person like me ever get on the board and want to drill down into your facts. Well, you're taking too much time. Well, you're using too many resources. Well, I don't think so. I think that's a dangerous path to go down, what you were discussing at the committee meeting. Thank you, and have a great day.
Okay, seeing no other speakers, anyone else have any comments on the board? We're adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck with that.
I will. I feel a little. I feel good.